Good evening, ladies. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, everyone that could join us today. It is 6 minutes past 8 p.m., 31st of January 2022. Time for the disclaimer before we get into anything. Okay, so in case you guys didn't know, all our content is for education, information, and entertainment purposes only. No information should be considered investment advice or a financial recommendation to buy, sell any assets or place any trades. Please always do your own research. It's very important to do your own analysis before doing any or making any investment based on your own individual circumstances. Always take independent professional advice from a professional advisor, or independently research and verify all and any information you may find in our content you wish to rely upon, whether you wish to make an investment decision or otherwise.
All investments, if you didn't know, actually come with risks. So please always do your own research. Anything that happens to be in line or happens after we have said it is by chance pure coincidence, as we are not registered financial advisors. However, if you have made money off anything we've ever said, type game in chat. This is just for the legals anyway. So we are not financial advisors. We do not intend to be perceived or received as financial advisors. However, we are working in collaboration with several accredited advisors who, if you're unable to mitigate your risk, then please contact us immediately so we can refer you to our accredited financial advisors. Yeah, the legal schmeagle.
Also, guys, thanks to Seji, our new intern, all the game episodes that are on YouTube are now on Spotify. And are they on Apple Music as well, or just Spotify?
They are on Apple Music as well. Let's just plug him. Let's just plug him. Let's show people where they can get it, where they can get the songs. So as you probably noticed, we did a episode with Ray Dalio as we took over your whole ting-a-ting. So if you want to go and listen to that episode, is it sharing my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, you go onto the website, which looks pretty groovy. And right there, as soon as you land, Wealth Masters, lessons from Ray Dalio. Yeah, you heard right. Ray Dalio. We had a conversation with him. To listen to the conversation, all you got to do is press here. It'll open Spotify and it'll take you to it right there. Listen to the edit that he did as well. Wait, I don't want to log in. What if I don't want to log in?
I don't think you can play Spotify without logging in, bro.
Oh, pagan things.
Yeah, man.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
In this special episode, Blockchain Sensei's Michael Harding will talk with Ray Dalio of Bridgewater Associates about how education in Web3 will affect the wealth gap.
Mad. Shout out to Seji there. Shout out to the Shogun Seji.
Jeez. Wait, did he actually do the?
Yeah, he did all of that.
Oh, he produced that. Oh man,
yeah.
I didn't even know.
Things, bro.
Didn't
If
even
man's
know.
don't know who Ray Dalio is, just a little Google search.
For those that don't know Ray Dalio.
No, I gotta do this almost every episode now. His net worth is 20 billion. He manages the world's largest hedge fund.
Wait. I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna do something mad, right? So Ray Dalio's net worth is 20 billion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, divided by 365, divided by 24, divided by 4. So that means, bro, I mean, I know he doesn't make $20 billion cash per year, but if you were to divide Ray Dalio's net worth in time in 1 year, as in divided by 365 days, divided by 24 hours, divided by 4, because we spoke to him for 15 minutes, that conversation, some could argue, is worth $500,000.
Well, people want to sit with Jay-Z, 500K, and we sit with Ray Dalio for free.
You know what it is? It's the wealth perception.
Just when people actually realize the actual value of this show and what we're talking about and where we're at, it's mad. It's actually mad. It's actually so mad. But anyway, Back to the website, because we've got to plug that because it's what we do. So if you don't know, we've got a website. If you want lessons, if you want one-on-ones, if you want to launch some NFTs, go to our website and book in a free session. We've got our NFT services company. We've got all of our sponsors there. Shout out to Sports Key, Anglia Ruskin University, Newsall, the Manchester United Foundation, and Otto, who we recently did the NFT webinars with. We've got the Intro to Crypto PDF right there. We've got all the links, and then we've got our crypto swing trading signal service, which we have to make an announcement about. We are going to be launching the beta for the crypto swing signal service level 2, which is going to involve, you guessed it, but shorting the stock market shorting crypto and the stock market as well. So if you'd like to be a part of the beta test, please type beta in chat or message us privately, and we will give you access to that. Obviously, that's going to be extreme maximum risk. Yes, we've just said we can open it up and just type beta, but it's going to be for only paid people that are already on swing service level 1. So what it means is level 2 will mean that even when the market is down, you'll still be able to make money. So it's going to be big. So that's where we're at with that. So let's go to where we at now. Where we at?
Also, special announcement. We've not even announced this on social media. Guys, starting this Friday, we have a new show. Fridays, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Same link as the game. We're going to have another game. I don't know what the show is going to be called, but it's going to be exclusively to do with NFTs only. So we'll just be talking about NFTs. Yeah, it'll be hosted by a mixture of myself, Mr. Harding, obviously our boy Maestro, who's board ape holder number 19, Storm, who is head of NFTs, and yeah, it's going to be an NFT only focus show starting this Friday, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Same link. So we've not even announced that, but everyone here, please do follow up Maestro22.eth. He drops a lot of gems, especially on Twitter as well, and he's very accessible, guys. Like, you have to bear in mind that there's going to be a day that we become not that accessible. I think Maestro might be that guy to become unaccessible sooner than us if he continues to make a name for himself in the NFT space. So
yeah, I hear that.
Also to announce, we have almost finished our new second ebook, an NFT ebook. What are we doing about the free version, Mr. Harding?
Should we put it out right now?
Okay. If you guys would like a free NFT ebook, a stripped back version of the paid version, type yes in chat and your email. Anyone?
Nah, we can go one better than that. We don't even have to do the email. Remember, we got the thing, bro.
Oh, where we don't email it out, they got to fill it in if they want it.
Yeah. We got the thing, bro.
You got the thing, right? So have you got it right now, or do you need
the thing? I'm loading up the thing right now, bro.
You got the thing right now. Okay, cool, guys. I take that back. We will not be emailing you. Okay, if you want this PDF that took us how much writing time, dude? I don't even want to count the writing time. It was stupid amounts of real. I'm gonna say between us about 60 to 80 hours of raw writing time. This is a stripped back version where it's highly visual. Yeah, do you want to just drop that? We will drop the link for this in the YouTube.
It's gonna be coming in the show real soon, but first let's just show them what they're getting. So
for sure. Yeah, show them. This is the free PDF. Imagine how much.
Yeah, this is the free one.
This is
paid
the free one.
Has got the maddest game.
Should be selling it.
So just to let you know, this is what we provide to corporate companies, but we're giving it out for free.
35 days.
We're actually affecting our business by saying that and by doing that, but we know, like, people are loyal, innit? So we gotta like give them the free. Get me? So shout out to Storm, shout out to Dom for designing it.
Yes.
It's got the top platforms to use. It's got pros and cons of different things, of different platforms. It's got some terminology, and there is some mad websites in there that you can use to help you with your research that most people don't know about. So that is hella game. So before I go into these reports, because today's a reports episode special, is there anything you want to cover, Ninja, or do you want to do the news or things that have happened in the last week from the Instagram?
No, I will leave that to you. I'll be honest, guys. I've been locked in a tax return for about a day and a half. That's where my head's been.
First. All right, cool. So news. What's going on in the world of crypto? So since we last spoke, don't know if you noticed, but Microsoft reported that their revenue has boosted up 20% in the last quarter.
That's great.
Who would have said invest in Microsoft? Hey, who would have said something crazy like that? Warner Music Group partners with Sandbox to create the first music-themed metaverse world, a combination of a musical theme park and a concert venue. So this, I think, is the start. I think what we've seen with Fortnite and who's it been? What's her name? Ariana Grande and Travis Scott is just the start. I think concerts in the metaverse are going to become the norm. Just in terms of merch sales, it's just too easy for them to sell merch, so they'd be crazy to not do it. And if you think crypto education is important, then we agree. So does. This is one of my favorite ones that I've done so far. Let's just put the audio on because I think the audio is clear on this.
LeBron James, 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 LeBron James.
So, yep, you guessed it. LeBron James is partnering up with Crypto.com to bring digital education to students. So, yeah, I think, I don't know. Would you want to get involved in something that LeBron James is teaching people, that Ray Dalio is teaching people, and that Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, has hinted at Apple's metaverse plans and says it sees investing in there has potential? Who would have guessed? Who would have said that Apple are going to release some metaverse glasses and then all of a sudden the markets are going to bounce up and change? Who would have guessed that? That's crazy, that. But yeah, it's kind of like we're just good at predicting the future now. So also Google Cloud, they have launched a dedicated asset team for blockchain assets. I don't know if anybody is still questioning if crypto and blockchain is a scam or if it's a phase, then yeah, I just don't know what to say to you if you think it's still a scam, because MasterCard are partnering up with Coinbase to allow seamless NFT transactions. So no need for people to understand how the back end works. And this is why I keep saying, when Coinbase step into the NFT market, it is going to get silly. Like,
remember, Coinbase owned 12% of all crypto. They literally said that in US Congress.
Stunting differently.
98% of which is in cold storage.
Stunting differently. Coinbase is just flexing. And now they've got a partnership with MasterCard and with Visa to, yeah. So, yeah. Do we think the whales or multi-billion-dollar investors are investing in Coinbase?
Yeah.
Even though the price is down, I wouldn't let that. Yeah. If you want to know and do your research on Coinbase, just go to our YouTube, and which you can get in the link tree.
Yeah, we did
multiple
two
episodes,
right? Two
We've done
Coinbase.
three.
Wow, yeah. I even forgot we did a third one.
We've done 3 episodes on Coinbase. It's that wild. It's that crazy. So yeah, that's where we are with that. We had a question. Anyone played that?
Hey, Shaz, Bill with the great .eth. I love the .eth. I've not jumped on that trend, but I understand the value.
Me neither, not yet. So right, let's get into today's episode. So today's episode is teaching people about, we're gonna have a bit of an altcoin shill session at the end, but the important thing today is going over none other than the Ark Invest Big Ideas paper. Now, we do this every single year because this paper gives you an insight into what the biggest minds in the world are investing in, what the best and smartest people in the world are looking at in terms of where the world is going to go in the next 5 to 10 years. So far, Ark have been pretty damn accurate with all of their calculations. So I think it's very important that whenever they release their paper, that we go over it and we let it be known to the public that this is where money flows are going. These are the predictions, and this is where the world is going to change and going to head. And then we're going to go into the Tesla earnings report, because that is probably, once you understand these reports.
Can I just show something very quickly? If you scroll down, I did a impromptu live with Waj. So it's got, yeah. And he ended up dropping loads of game on DeFi. So feel free to check that one out, guys. It lasted, it's literally an hour plus conversation.
Jeez, fire game. Okay, cool. So let's get into it. The Ark white Ark. So this is for people that invest in stocks and crypto alike. And we've sent this out to everybody in the WhatsApp group. If you're not in the WhatsApp group, let us know. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. So one of the biggest things that they noted straight away off the bat in this paper is that what's happening is we're in a time of history that has never happened before, where so many technologies are actually converging. Now, what does it mean to converge? It means that they're working together. So we've got blockchain is working together with the Internet of Things, like we've seen with helium. We've got reusable rockets working together with AI, and AI launching the rockets and landing the rockets. We've got 3D printing working together with robotics, and 3D printing also working with living therapies, and AI also working with gene editing. So all these major technologies are all just working together and blending in together. So we're in a time in history that is probably never going to happen ever again. It's probably one of the most important times to be alive, in the quotes of Future and Drake. I think it's Future and Drake. So yeah, gene sequencing, they're reckoning is going to be around 3.6 trillion in 2030. Robotics, 10 trillion, which is currently worth 168 billion. Blockchain from 1.4 trillion.
Wait. Can we just appreciate the X between 168 billion to 10 trillion? Like, that is like 60x, guys.
Yeah. These numbers are mad. Battery technology alone is going to jump from 1.5 trillion to 32 trillion. And AI from 10 trillion to $108 trillion industry by 2030. So yeah, things are about to get wild in the next 10 years. Now, it starts off by giving you like a little bit of a breakdown on each one of these segments and what it thinks that they're going to do. But we're going to go straight into the meat. So one of the things that you saw was we did an episode about AI, and we mentioned a program called GPT-3. And surprise, look at that. Ark Invest, the biggest and best reachers in the world, they've also mentioned it. Who would have guessed? What are the chances? Now, if you didn't know, GPT-3 is a large language model simulator. So what it can do is it can just basically listen to conversations. Apple. It can it can read text and then create text that simulates that basically exactly the same. Now, one of the things that actually exists right now is you can hire or buy GPT-3 to write white papers for you. So some white papers that are out there and some documents that you're reading that are out there, especially news, isn't even written by humans. It's written by AI. Now, how much did a GPT-3 cost in 2015? Yeah, about $1 billion. How much are they predicting GPT-3? How much does it cost at the moment? Just around 100 million to own this AI tech. Now, you might be thinking, who's got 100 million to do that? There's actually a lot of companies that have got 100 million spare in cash. just to note, Tesla have got, I think it was 13 billion they said in cash spare.
Crazy.
So that's a lot more than they need to buy this. Now, this is the interesting bit. By 2030, Ark are predicting that this technology will cost people around £500.
Well, dollars. So that's even cheaper.
$500, which is crazy. Crazy. Now, this is the bit where it gets even more wild. Is the given 240 trillion synapses, which is connections in the human brain, to train a neural network equivalent to the size of the human brain in 2021 would cost 2.5 billion. So basically, to get a computer that can literally match everything a human can do mentally would cost 2.5 billion. By 2030, this is going to cost just 600 grand. So just think to yourself, for a legal company, for a company that does anything to do with creativity or thinking, would they pay 60 grand to somebody a year for 10 years, or pay 600 grand to have someone for a lifetime and work 24/7 hours a day?
Never complain. It's not even a toilet break.
It's just not even a competition. So
Just
that's
software updates, bro.
So what they're saying that's going to happen with AI is it's not going to replace people. It's going to make people more productive. So it's saying in the software development space, it's going to make people 2 times more productive. In the legal department, 4 times more productive. So this, we can see the areas where if you're interested in AI and if you're in the legal department, you want to start learning about AI real quick. And in terms of coding, this is how amazing it is at this moment in time. So what you can do with OpenAI Codex is you can just literally speak to this AI and it will do the coding for you. So you can just literally speak to it and say, make a red ball bounce around the screen. And what it will do is it will actually in code do that for you. So I want you to think in terms of the metaverse, how powerful is that going to be in virtual worlds when people can just say things that they want to happen and the AI will make it happen in real time. So that's what we've got to really, really think about, is how does that affect everything later on? So again, I'm not going to go into everything in this. I've gone through it already. I'm just going to go into the bits that I've highlighted. So this is about gaming being the new biggest e-commerce platform, at which you'll see if you go read our PDF. The paid version, when it comes out, you're going to realize some crazy stuff about the gaming market, which is pretty hard to ignore. Now, one of the things that they did mention in this bit was about in terms of how much is available and like how much people have stopped using cards, stopped using cash. So this is what we can see is the average digital wallet is worth around $22,000. But in terms of, here we go. So the top payment methods. So we can see here, the purple line is the amount of people paying with their digital, with some kind of contactless pay on their phone. And we can see that that's shot up to over 50% of all sales, close to 50% are done through digital payment devices on people's phones. So we can see that that is an absolute game changer at this moment in time. So public blockchains, for those of you interested in crypto. So what this bit is talking about is how what people didn't understand with the internet is people thought that the internet would be something that would work alongside radio, alongside TV, alongside the newspapers. But what actually ended up happening is all of those things ended up being on the internet. So you can get newspapers on the internet. In fact, if you're a newspaper and you're not on the internet, you're dead. Same thing with TV. TV ended up being on the internet. In fact, if you're not on the internet, you're dead. Now, same thing happened with radio. If your music isn't on the internet, your music, it's pretty much dead. Like, it's just impossible for you. So you can see that's what happened with the internet, and that's exactly what's going to happen with crypto and blockchains. Everything is going to be connected to the blockchain, whether we like it or not. So in terms of it being a financial revolution, it's not just a financial revolution, it's a tech revolution. So one of the big things that you probably heard floating about on the internet, if you're in the crypto space, was the Ark announcement of how much they thought Bitcoin could be valued at by 2030. So what they've calculated is that just based off the jump from 2020 to 2021, we can see that the transfer volume on Bitcoin was 2.3 trillion was transferred on Bitcoin in 2020. By 2021, that jumped to 13.1 trillion. The average daily transfer was 6.4 billion, and that jumped to 35 billion. So
on-chain metrics.
Some crazy stuff. Now, what's happening with Bitcoin at the moment? We've got the soft fork activation, and we've got layer 2 growth, such as the Lightning Network, which is allowing for instant transfers on Bitcoin. Now, this bit I found very interesting, which was a breakdown of who's holding the most Bitcoin. So we know Grayscale are holding the most. They've got 654,000 Bitcoin. And then we know MicroStrategy are in there with 121. But what I like to know is the gap between Grayscale and everybody else. That is a bit of a gap. Is it fair to say that maybe Grayscale might single-handedly manipulate the markets?
Yeah, with other whales. But yeah, biggest player, right? Biggest Bitcoin player.
I think they're the biggest bosses thus far. Now, in terms of the value of the circulating supply, who's got it, we can see private companies hold 0.92%. Public companies, which is companies that are available to invest in on the stock market, they have 1.23%. Countries is actually 1.39%. So that means that there's something going on there. Just what I'd say.
What's crazy is El Salvador are the only country that accept Bitcoin as payment, but they're not even in the top 10 holders.
Yeah, which is crazy. Now, what's very interesting is concerns about Bitcoin's lack of sustainability. There's still this FUD about Bitcoin being bad for the environment. And we've already covered that in our paper where we looked at the mining benefits. So you probably know Canada under Niagara Falls, they actually mine Bitcoin there. Because what Bitcoin's actually good for doing is it can offset the costs of a wind farm, a solar farm, or a hydro-powered farm. So all the energy companies, guess what they're about to start doing? And they've already started doing mining Bitcoin. Now, oil companies, what's happening with the whole EV revolution? They're losing their market share. So what do they need to do? Find a new way of making money that's really valuable. So who's got more money to buy into energy, into Bitcoin than anyone? Oh yeah, the oil companies. So yeah.
And oil is I believe around $11 trillion market.
Yep. So watch out for that one. That one's gonna come out of nowhere. So yeah, they've calculated that Bitcoin in terms of the value when we compare it to other things. So they've calculated that Bitcoin's market cap by 2030 will be around 28.5 trillion. 28.5 trillion. So gold is currently at 10 trillion. The global stock market is currently at 106 trillion. The global monetary supply is at 123 billion, and bonds are at 124 billion, and global real estate is at 220 billion. So it's still not even that much. It sounds wild, but it's not. So they've calculated that by 2030,
sorry, just
1 million.
Just for correction, you mean trillion, right?
Oh yeah, trillion. Sorry.
If the global real estate market was 220 billion, that would be very cheap. But yeah, all those are trillions.
Trillion. So they've calculated that by 2030, Bitcoin will be worth 1 million. Now, in terms of Ethereum, 1 million a coin. So that's roughly a 25.9x return. So yeah. So just because we sold out of Bitcoin doesn't mean that we're not going to be buying it back. We've got a plan. And if you're one of our paid students, you know exactly the plan. If you don't know the plan and you're a paid student, message us right now.
In fact, I'm happy to announce that on our current Signal service, we started sending out Bitcoin trades as well.
Yep. So gotta accumulate. So in terms of traditional finance, everything that is in the traditional finance world is actually available in the crypto world. Bank of America, you've got Compound. New York Stock Exchange, you've got Uniswap. Robinhood, you've got MetaMask. BlackRock, you've got Yearn. AIG, you've got Nexus. And CME Group, you've got DYDX. So in terms of Ethereum, we can see the transaction fees, the transactions are going through the roof. What's helping that is NFTs. Now, this I found very interesting, is the revenue per employee in terms of how much money companies save in comparison to using these platforms. So we see Compound versus Bank of America, saving a lot of money. But yeah, great read this. Don't want to get too stuck on this. Let's just keep going. What was that? That's about Coinbase. Ethereum is work in progress. Ethereum's market cap by so they're estimating that what's going to happen is Ethereum is going to start taking some of the global financial services market cap, and Ethereum's market cap could reach 20 trillion in the next 10 years.
Wow. That's a 60x from the current.
So yeah, you know, when this next dip happens, you might want to hold some Bitcoin and some Ethereum. And
I'm so glad, like, because I always tell people ETH is gonna smash $50,000, but people think I'm crazy.
It's because they don't understand it.
They don't understand. They don't understand the value.
The people that understand it the most, like the people at Ark Invest, are like, yeah, it's gonna be worth 20 trillion. Not even 20, like that's, yeah. Anyway, Web3, so talking about Web3, what I'm gonna just highlight here that I didn't highlight is some of these platforms that I've never heard of. Please do your own research into these platforms, because I've not heard of them.
Except OpenSea, of course.
Obviously, I've heard of OpenSea and Fractional, but yeah, I heard of some of these. So yeah, do your own research on those. Blockchain gaming, we already know about that. If you want to know more about that, read our book.
What do you do with regards to that link, by the way? Do you have it to drop in?
Yeah, I got it. I'm going to drop it at the end.
Okay.
For those people that be loyal. So gene editing is something that, so I'm a big fan of reading into this, because like I've been saying for ages, and you know, when I get in my rabbit hole, I'm on this. I think what the problem is, what people don't realize, is the wealth gap is already big. The difference between a billionaire and a millionaire is a joke, and people don't realize that the gap is 999 million is the gap between a millionaire and a billionaire. And there is, billionaires are just growing, and we're about to get into trillionaires, and the gap between a trillionaire and a millionaire is ridiculous. So what's going to happen is trillionaires and billionaires are going to be able to pay for life extension through AI and gene editing. So people think I'm being crazy when I'm saying, no, people are going to live in, people that are alive now are going to live to 400 to 300, and their whole families will as well. And that's going to happen in our lifetime, but it's going to happen for those that can afford it. And this is what I think is the biggest problem, is there's going to be a split of normal humans and advanced humans that are combined with AI. So they're going to be much smarter, faster, stronger, and they're going to have access to a whole different level of healthcare. And if you and your family haven't improved your financial situation by 2040, the gap's going to be on. The gap is going to literally create two types of human beings, like the gap between the Neanderthals and Homo sapiens the gap is going to be like that.
Wow. Big statement. So basically, stack crypto so you can live longer in the future.
Not even just you, your whole family, like everyone. Like it's not even a joke. People think it's a joke, but I've been reading up on this gene editing stuff hard. Like I read up on crypto, but I've been reading up on this gene editing stuff pretty hard. So the best way to break it down, what's happening is with gene editing, what used to have to happen was there's something called in vivo and vivo. And what the difference is being able to track and edit genes by taking a blood sample, testing it, and then just changing the genes and then putting that back into your system. So that's one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is just literally, it's so complicated to explain, but yeah, please look into some research of your own into gene editing. And you just got to think, these multi-billionaires and super rich elites, are they going to spend money and invest in things that are going to allow them to live for longer?
Hell yeah.
So yeah, this space is going to absolutely go crazy. So one of the things that's going to help with normal everyday people is cancer screening. So at the moment, I think this might have a little bit on it in terms of the cancer screenings.
When did this ARK report come out, bro?
Same thing with civil rights.
You get
All
it.
that.
You get it. You get it.
About a week ago, I think. I can't find. Oh yeah, oncology. Here we go. So a lot of the money is going to be made from cancer screening. So about 170 billion of the 300 billion that's going to be there to make is going to come from cancer screening. So that's going to allow people to just literally, for around $25, get a whole body health check on cancer. So people are going to be able to literally test for cancer on a weekly basis, which would save so many lives. It's crazy. But you'll never guess what saves more lives than screening for cancer. It's quite interesting.
I have no idea.
AI.
Oh, wow.
It's very interesting. I read an article on it and the stats are really hard to argue. Just because in one area alone, in just self-driving cars, we save like millions of lives a year. For
real? Has there ever been a self-driving car accident? I've not heard of that one.
Yeah, no, they do happen.
Okay.
They do happen, but they get kind of slaughtered in the press. Whenever there's a self-driving car accident, it's like, oh my God, a self-driving car, like the Tesla exploded or the Tesla did this, da, da, da. But then they never really show the stats and compare them. Like how many people die from drink drivers, how many people die from people that are high on drinking, how many people die from being on their phones or driving, how many people die. Like, it's crazy because people are only thinking of it from the perspective of their environment. They're not thinking of it from the perspective of the whole world. You're talking Russia, China, Africa, India, Malawi. Like, people are just forgetting that other places exist apart from outside their own house.
I mean, really and truly, and I want everyone to deep this who's listening to this, most of the news is just rubbish. And if you shut your eye and just only read reports and no news, you'd probably be in a better place.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. Like, people think that, like, oh, how do we know so much about what's going to happen the next day?
Read reports.
Read reports. That's it, and it literally tells you what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks.
You know what's so crazy? Like, and shout outs to yourself, because before we partnered up, I wasn't on deep research like you showed me, but I learned that these free reports are probably the most important information on planet Earth. Like, literally more important than what any news outlet has to tell you.
Yep. One of those things I would tell you right now is if you are working,
the data's right there. People need to follow. Like, I think the address is that, like, we need to go through a cultural change where people fall in love with data.
Yeah, it's gonna happen slowly, surely, but slowly. So yeah, vehicle sales growth. So we can see the purple is the electric cars, The other side is the gas-powered cars. So we can see 2018, there was a bit of a change, but not that much. Hang on a minute, this data doesn't make sense. Hold up. Oh, sales growth. Oh, okay, yeah. So in 2018, vehicle sales had a 69% growth, and normal cars were down 1.2%. Then they were down 7.2%. Then they were down 16% in 2020. Meanwhile, electric cars, their sales have only been going up. So it's not looking good for traditional car sales. Bad times for them. So that's electric cars. Now, Ark suggests that the autonomous ride-hailing platforms will add roughly 26 trillion to global GDP and 2 trillion in profit by 2030. So what is autonomous ride-hailing? That is self-driving cars being used for taxis, because the price of a mile hasn't really gone down since 1934, which has been about $70. No, 0.70 cents. So yeah, so 70 cents. Whereas with self-driving cars, that'll go down to about 0.25. So the cost of a mile of ride choices today, we can see that when it comes to driving a taxi at the moment, it costs actually about $2 because of the value of time and additional convenience factor and all the rest. So it doesn't work out that way at this moment in time, but over time, that will change. So what's going to happen is with more autonomous cars, we're going to see an increase in traffic on the roads. So what's going to happen? The value of air traffic is going to become the major space. So let's take an example of, because I'm quite curious about this out of the 18 people that we've got in the room. Let's say you've got to get from Manhattan to JFK. So let's call that the equivalent of, in London, you've got to get from Oxford Circus to Heathrow. And we'll just hypothetically say that it's the same distance, even though we know it's not. So on a New York subway, it will take you 60 minutes, but it will cost you, I'm going to change this all to pounds just so it's a little bit better. It will cost you 60 minutes on the tube and $8. Or you get an autonomous taxi and it'll take 80 minutes for £10. Or you can get in a normal taxi for 70 minutes, £65. Or get an air taxi for £74 and it'll take 18 minutes, or get a helicopter for £195 and get there in 5 minutes. Type in chat which one you'd do. Because I wouldn't get the taxi to save 10 minutes and pay an extra 25 quid. And pay, no, not an extra 25 quid, an extra 55 quid. But then if I can get there in 18 minutes instead of 80, I'm probably going to pay the 74. Don't know how people feel about that, but that's me. But anyway, so what the key thing is that they've noted is that because of self-driving cars having to be an option, and they're going to make up the majority of the money in the car industry, if your car company can't make self-driving cars, most car companies and rental companies will not survive by 2030. So autonomous ride hailing is going to have a massive global economic impact, probably one of the biggest economic impacts. It's going to be one of the biggest transitions that we're going to see in the next 10 years, self-driving cars and autonomous vehicles. And that's a 26 trillion it's going to add to global GDP. Now, a lot of the talk of what's going to happen with all this self-driving stuff and whatever is the jobs that people are going to lose. Yes, 4 trillion will be lost to the global economy in terms of medical revenue, because there won't be as many accidents. So that's such a shame. But to counter it, there will actually be 3 trillion added from economic gain from the amount of people that are actually still alive instead of dying in car accidents. Then there's 210 billion in property repair revenue, because a lot of cars crash into buildings. Then there's 470 billion in maintenance revenue of the actual maintenance of the cars, fuel revenue, 700 billion lost in insurance, and 1.8 trillion lost in personal car sales. However, there's a 16 trillion uplift in productivity, because it would mean people are allowed to work whilst they're traveling to work. And in terms of what they're expecting in terms of productivity, it's going to add over 3 percentage points to annual GDP in terms of productivity. So autonomous logistics, I found this interesting. And I think this is the order we're going to see it in. And I think we're going to see it by this Christmas. By this Christmas, I'm predicting, Ark haven't predicted this, I'm predicting this. By this Christmas, we're going to see deliveries done by air drone start to become a thing. And then it's going to move to food. So it's going to happen. Then from there, it's going to go to batch deliveries. And then from there to truck deliveries. Why? Because it's the price difference that you save as a company is you're paying 25p per delivery instead of £5.40. If you're a business owner, what are you using? It's not even a competition. It's not even a question. If someone says to me, I can pay 25p instead of £5.40 for all my deliveries, and I'm making millions of deliveries, I think I'm going to go with the 25p option. The same thing with batch deliveries, 40p instead of £2.40. So, yeah. However, what's interesting is the most affected area out of all of this in terms of the autonomous nation is going to be rail, which I found very, very interesting. Because, again, that would prove that the UK government are doing things absolutely backwards with this whole HS2 thing. And spending all this money on this HS2 line. And by then, people are going to have flying taxis and just not even going to bother with it. So, because HS2 is meant to be done, completed from London to Manchester or whatever by 2030. So... yeah, they might be flopping that a little bit, but yeah, that's on that. So yeah, in terms of retail share, it's going to grow. Skip in. I think last one. So yeah, the adoption of automation typically accelerates in crises. What did we have in 2020? Oh yeah, crisis. So we can see automation boomed after the .com bubble. So it went from like unit sales of industrial robots went from around 50,000 to 100,000 between 2000 and 2008. Then there was a 2008 crash, and look what happened. Robot sales went from like 100,000 to 450,000. So what do we expect to happen now? It's going to blow up even further. So why? Because manufacturers are now going to be doubling down on 3D printing. Why? Because you've got to put yourself in the head of a business owner. Manufacturers can produce 3D printing parts on demand in small batch runs or one at a time. That way they don't need to hold inventory. So instead of manufacturers having to hold a factory, they can just have, let's say, for example, you're a clothing company, a trainer company, you make phone screens, you make VR glasses, whatever. Instead of having to create them all on the spot and then have them in a warehouse and get them delivered, when the order comes in, it would make it and then send it to a drone and then deliver it instantly, saving so much time, so much money. So that would be pretty good. Now, what I found interesting again was the amount of jobs that is actually coming. So people, again, are always fearful about losing jobs to robots, but this data says the exact opposite. So here on the left-hand side, you can see the amount of robots that have actually been employed by Amazon, and then what happens to the human employment. So when Amazon had one robot employee in 2013, they increased their normal staff by 88. And we can see over time, it just seems to increase. So that's quite interesting. So in terms of why 3D printing, as again, the differences it makes are uncomparable. So Volkswagen, they reduced the weight of a car part by 74%. And cut the amount of parts needed to make a car down by 2/3, which is crazy. Nissan did something similar, and instead of outsourcing the manufacturing, they started to do it themselves and reduce their cost by 200x. Yeah. And then finally, orbital space. So we've seen this big space race, but we probably don't understand why this big space race is heating up. I'll tell you why. To dominate the internet, because what's going to happen next is satellites were traditionally used for TV, but now they're going to be used to cast broadband, and reusable rockets. So you're probably noticing there's a pattern here. A lot of the things that we're mentioning, Tesla do. That's why we're going to go over the Tesla report last but not least, because Tesla do reuse. Elon Musk is involved in reusable rockets. Elon Musk is involved in 3D printing. Elon Musk is involved in Bitcoin. Elon Musk is involved in self-driving vehicles. Elon Musk is involved in electric vehicles. Elon Musk is involved in... Is he involved in AI? Oh, yeah, he is, because he's got the Neuralink. So, yeah. So, yeah, just don't rule out how much this company could be worth. So, yeah, what the plan is for Starlink is basically a mesh of 75,000 satellites, mini satellites about the size of a golf ball, sometimes the size of a basketball, that are going to float around the earth and give internet to everybody, super fast internet to everybody. And there's actually 3 billion people that currently don't have access to high-speed internet. So it's going to change a lot of lives. So based on the Ark's economic report, in terms of hyper fast travel, according to research, passengers pay roughly 15,000 for every 2 hours saved on private planes. So based on Ark's research, people will be willing to pay 100,000 to save 13 hours on a 2 to 3 hour trip from New York to Japan. Now, let me ask you, if you are a multi-billionaire or trillionaire, do you mind paying 100K to save 13 hours?
Definitely not.
Being able to go to Japan and back in a day. Meanwhile, the same time that it could take you to get to Japan, you could get on a train from London to Manchester on the HS2. Woo! Yeah, they flopped it. So that's that. So just to wrap it up before I'm going to just look at the questions in the chat, and I'm just going to show you how you would find a report like this and how to find the Tesla earnings report. So let me just read the chat. Appreciate that. What's it? Minor roll call. So tap in. Facts. All of this is blowing my mind. 2000 call line. Uses bad food. Yep, that is a massive thing. So you've probably seen the adverts from the British Heart Foundation about the organ printing. So what's going to be able to happen is people are going to have accidents, and in real time, they're going to be able to replace their organs through 3D printing if it's damaged, which is mind-bending that can happen. So people already have 3D printed organs inside of them at the moment and are living off those. So again, technology is crazy. So I'm not going to spend too long on the Tesla report because it's pretty crazy anyway. Don't need to. It speaks for itself. But I'm going to show you how you would find it. So what you do is, with any company in the world that you're interested in investing in, I would, as a beginner, recommend using hypercharts to start, just because it's really, really easy to use. Let's say, for example, you're interested in how Apple have done in their latest report. You can then just simply go here and it will show you the revenue segments. It will show you their net income, and net income is actual profit. So we can see they made 34 billion in one quarter. You can see their operating expenses and all the good juicy stuff. But we're going to go to Tesla. I'm going to take a bit of a deeper dive in. So what you would do is you go to Google, shout out pre-search. Let me show you something here. So anybody that uses BAT, from the guys at the fund, the VC fund that we work with, shout out Seb, they have a search tool called pre-search. So what pre-search does is allows you to get paid in crypto for all the Google searches that you do. So you might want to add this. So we all use Google. By adding this, you'll realize how much you actually use Google, because it takes an extra second to then change it to a Google search. And then you'll realize, whoa, I actually use Google so much. Literally everything you're doing, you don't realize until you start using pre-search. But you might as well get paid for, literally, how long did that take me to do? Instead of going directly to Google, I've just gone. That's an extra like millisecond, but I've got paid for it. So yeah, or you could just give all your search data for free to Google anyway. But yeah, so Tesla, and then you would just type in investors relations. And that's how you bring up an earnings report. So then it brings you to this, and then it brings you to the earnings. So again, we're not going to spend too long here. We're going to spend like 5 minutes here because it speaks for itself. So Tesla had a breakthrough year. So this is an end of year report as well as a quarterly report. And what this can kind of break down for us. Let me just mute everybody. Participants, mute all, mute. Oh, sorry about that. So what we can see is the growth from quarter to quarter. So what's a quarter? It's every 3 months. So we can see Tesla's growth quarter to quarter in terms of the revenue it's making has been growing very nicely. Then in terms of their total revenues, very nicely indeed. When we look at that jump from 10, and all of this is in millions, 10 million all the way up to 17. I think that's actually billion, you know, guys. But anyway, net income, we can see that jumped up from 270 million up to 2.321. That's a 760% increase in net income in 1 year. Guys, if you're not really a business person or you don't really know business, increasing the amount of money you're making as a business by 760% in a year is dumb. As a car company, that's even more dumb. Well, all you have to understand with Tesla is it's not a car company. We say this every single time that we do this. Now, one of the best things to look at before making an investment is something called EPS. So that is your earnings per share. And this is what is attractive to the big whales. Is it basically means how much does this company earn per share, like off each share that's sold, so whatever price it's sold for, how much does the company actually make money with it? How much do they actually get back off it? So we can see the EPS on Tesla is for each share, they make around $2 profit off each share that's invested in by the public. So the EPS is currently up 754%. Again, I challenge you to find something that's as good as that. And then when we look at it on a year by year basis, when we look at the revenues, just look at that, look at this growth. Crazy. We look at the total revenues, again, crazy growth. When we look at the total net income growth, crazy. Look at the total EPS growth, a total EPS growth of 660% year on year. So yeah, kind of crazy. So yeah, just wanted to touch on that. And now they have 17 billion spare cash. And then the final nail in the coffin that they've just delivered to the other car companies without really stunting about it is the fact that when we look at these crazy numbers, they've actually done that without producing their flagship car for 1 quarter, which is crazy. Like that's like Nike not even selling Air Force Ones and still being better than anyone and still increasing their sales. I hope that is a good metaphor for people. So yeah, solar deployed, that's the area that we need to watch. So yeah, just thought I would share this with you because even though they're not using all their current factories, they're about to start using 50% of the capacity of the factory in Shanghai, and then also launch the Texas factory and the factory in Berlin, and also launch the full self-driving, which is self-driving cars. I think we might have done a bit of a talk about that. Energy storage is up 32% year on year. Now, this is the sentence most people are sleeping on. We are in the process of building a dedicated mega pack factory to address the growing demand. Yeah. And then final sentence that I'm going to leave you with before we go to Q&A is one of the things Elon mentioned was something called Optimus Project. What is the Optimus Project? Oh yeah, it's just Elon saying that his robot company, part of Tesla, is actually going to make more money than the car part of Tesla. And that is where we leave it there. So thank you very much, guys. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode of the game, where we took a deep dive into what the next 10 years. Well, it's not even 10. That's scary. The next is 8. That's going to fly by like that. Just to give you context of how much that's going to fly by, did you know that 5 years ago was actually 2017?
Wow.
Just for some context. Just for some context. This is what I always like doing when it comes to realizing what year something was in, because it makes people realize. Just for context, let's just look at movies from 2017.
Yeah, that'll capture the time.
That'll make you go, raw. That was 2017.
The way to stamp a year.
No, I don't know that. See if goes Alien Covenant. Oh my god, what a bad boy film. Atomic Blonde. Oh, do you remember the adverts for that? That was absolutely everywhere. Killing. Oh, the Merowitz stories, new and selected. That is such a good film. So underrated. The Lost City of Z. Okja. Oh, that was so good. I don't know where. Oh, Dunkirk. Yeah, I don't know where it picked these films from. I don't know how and why it did that. Let's just go here, images.
I'm having a look at music right now. What was in the top 40 chart?
Oh, Logan and the first Star Wars and Spider-Man Homecoming.
Wow.
Beauty and the Beast, Kong, It, Wonder Woman, 2017. Now they feel like they were literally the other day. It and what's this one? That was huge. Can't remember what it's called.
I can't remember it off the top of my head, but I know who the actor is.
Yeah, but yeah, that was 2017, guys. So time flies. So is 5 years gonna fly by real quick? Yeah.
That's why you gotta action every day. You gotta action every day. If you're not earning, you gotta be learning. That's it. 2 modes.
Mad. Free man like sneaks. But yeah, any questions on absolutely anything? I know I was meant to do some altcoin shills, didn't quite do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go over my portfolio one more time and give you guys some insight into some of the stuff me and Ninja have kind of looked at in the crypto markets. And you know what? I'm going to give you guys some key levels that we've kind of worked out, that if these levels are actually correct, these numbers that we're about to share with you are worth so much. So much. I'm going to give them the Bitcoin levels. So these are the Bitcoin levels. This is just, I'm going to say some numbers, and you may want to watch this back, but these are the numbers. 36,000. 38,971. 42,465. 46,045. 48,984. And most importantly, 57,000. So it's a bit cryptic, that message, but
Yeah, you have to know a little bit about TA, but if you know anyone who's listening to this within reasonable time, yeah, that was game. Also, any of you guys on Snapchat, I posted these key support and resistant levels on my Snapchat. So yeah, just pay attention, but feel free to rewind this episode to hear what you said, and we'll see if that plays out to be true. But there was 3 of us on TA. Myself, Mr. Harding, and Lucas on the live.
And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but we've been pretty accurate with our TA, especially around this zone here when that happened, and then also on the whole way down. So yes, we're up right now, but we're actually currently shorting this because we're expecting the market to dip one last time before all the alts fly off.
We've got a question from Neil. What price do you have to see at your Elliott wave? Is that 28K?
On the Elliott wave. So about the Elliott wave, actually, I'm thinking of doing an episode all about Elliott wave because it's been a long time since we touched it. And also, I don't think people realize how important it is. And also, TradingView have now just added auto Elliott wave. So you don't even actually have to understand how to map it. It'll just do it itself.
Yo, is TradingView on the stock market?
No. So the C level was, surprise, 24,000. Well, this tail end here, 32. But I don't think it's done. I personally think it's going to come down to 28. Personally. It might not do. It might just come back down to the same level, which was 32. And that is where the C is. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see on that one. Next question. Yep. Any questions, or should we just do open Q&A? No one's got any questions.
Let's just ask the room.
What do I think?
What do I think of KuCoin? I'll be honest, I don't use KuCoin personally, but I do know they release a lot of coins on KuCoin before on other centralized exchanges. My other opinion is, if you're asking how the KuCoin itself will do, I've always said exchange tokens historically always could do well as long as the exchange does well. So I was right about Crow, I was right about Binance Coin, I was right about Uniswap, right about PancakeSwap, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be a KuCoin boom.
And Swissborg.
Yeah, Swissborg.
Yep, KuCoin gets my cosign. Absolute cosign. If you don't ask me what wave count are we on, oh bloody hell, oh. Depends on what time frame. You know what? In fact, Neil, because we've been meaning to do some sessions together, let's get on that session as soon as possible because that's well overdue. And I think basically what we're saying is the train is about to leave the station for one last time. Literally, this is the buying dip where you could change your life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's very unlikely that the prices of any crypto assets are going to come down to this level when it gets down here ever again. So when Bitcoin dips, don't buy the highs. This is what everyone does. Everyone waits until Bitcoin and everything else is all the way up here. And then starts going, yeah, I'm going to buy. Yeah, crypto, it's hype. Yeah. Please stop buying things when they're at all-time highs and then selling them when they're low because you're scared and uncomfortable.
And you're only scared and uncomfortable because you don't know enough. Which means that you didn't do enough.
Buy it when it's low and sell it when it's high. It's the easiest investment strategy in the world. You buy when it is low and you sell when it is high. Simple. When everybody is fearful, be greedy. When everybody is greedy, be fearful. Warren Buffett,
not me. That's not my quote. That's Warren Buffett. Technically the greatest investor that's ever lived. So yeah, guys, just ultimately, I always say it like this. I used to use the house metaphor, but I'm going to use the car metaphor. In fact, you know, I'm going to use a pair of trainers. So, because everyone can relate to a pair of trainers that they really, really like. So let's say, for example, there's a pair of trainers that you really, really like, and you really, really want them, and you've been watching them for ages, right? And these trainers normally cost £100. They are now £10, and nobody else is buying them anymore, but you really like them and they're £10. Are you going to buy them? If you know that the potential future resale value of these £100 trainers is £500 and you can get them for £10, that is what is happening with the entire crypto market right now. Binance is down at like $342 when it was up as much as $694.
So
We've
cheap.
got, which one's the ridiculous one I saw the other day? I think it was Polkadot. Oh my God. Guys, Polkadot is $18, $19 when it was $56.
Crazy.
This is one of the most important cryptos in the entire space because it allows for interoperability. What's that? Allows cryptos to communicate and work with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And it's $19, not even pounds, dollars. Guys.
You know the most practical advice, right? And this is non-financial to everyone in this room is, you guys know what to do. Just try and get your money up. Just try, like, and if there was a time to do overtime at work, now's the time. If there's time to put in a delivery shift or whatever, now's the time. If there's time to get, if there was a time to chase your clients up for that overdue payment, now is the time to load the boat. Focus on income.
Yeah. So I know this AR, MR, XR industry, chip industry, and energy industry about to skyrocket, but I don't know who as yet is going to be leading in for the catalyst. Do you guys have an indication who will be? And if so, how can I do some further research? Yes, I have a great answer for you. So first of all, we have SMH. Now, SMH, what is that? That is a ETF, a basket of the top chip manufacturers in the world. We can see that their chart is absolutely dumb, and they don't really do downtime, as we can see. So this is SMH. If you invested in them just 30th of March 2020 to now, you'd be 234% up to where we are, 166% up. Am I expecting a bounce on these? Yes. Next, Nvidia. Why? Because most of crypto mining is done with Nvidia cards. The Unreal Engine is made with Nvidia cards. Then, who owns the most of the market share and has just launched a factory in the US? Taiwan Semiconductor. They make and are responsible for most of the chips for most of the major companies. And look at this beautiful support line that is literally staring everybody in the face just here. What's the support line? It's an area where the price doesn't seem to go below. So, you know, if you see Taiwan Semiconductor come down to around $107 again, I don't know what to tell you. Let me just do a quick fib. I should make Ninja do this fib, but yeah, $257 that will go to easily. So yeah, that's where we're at. Let's go.
I'm gonna quickly answer Curtis as we missed his question. Thoughts on sushi. So for those that don't know, Sushi Swap is a decentralized exchange where you swap Ethereum tokens for other cryptos built on Ethereum. Now, Sushi Swap is basically an exact replica of Uniswap. So Uniswap is the world's biggest decentralized exchange for Ethereum tokens. So swapping ETH for other cryptos built on Ethereum. Sushi Swap is literally a copy there is hardly any differences. But what I can tell you is that with Uniswap is something that's very like certified in the community. It is the biggest Ethereum DEX. It's well invested in by whales. SushiSwap, you have much higher chance of getting a bigger X because it's a smaller market cap. But at the same time, SushiSwap could be replaced by another Ethereum DEX. So that's my thoughts on Sushi. It's good, it works. It's just a copy of Uniswap. So anything, in my opinion, another Ethereum DEX could replace it, as it just copies what Uniswap does.
So one major bit of game that I'm just going to shout to everyone because my food's come, so I'm going to be finishing this call a little bit earlier today. Plus, me and Ninja got to go over some stuff. Is that you always want to think of the next wave. So right now, we are in the kind of end of the leg where everything's going down. So most people are thinking, oh no, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. So I was thinking about what to do when the market goes down, when the market was going up. So now the next step is the market is about to go up. So what we're planning is how are we going to make money when the market goes down? So then when the market goes down, guess what you start planning? What are you going to do when the market goes up? So one of the things we're going to do when the market goes down is we're going to be shorting the market, making money off the market going down. Then what we're going to be doing is we're going to be investing heavily into DAOs. Now, what are DAOs? These are things that provide you crazy yield, extreme DeFi, where you're getting like, some of these are doing like 200% or 100% in a day APY. So do your own research on these here. So that is a mad show, what I've just given you there. Like actually insane what I've just told everybody there. And then what I'm about to show you is also insane. But this, I wasn't going to really share with people because I thought it might scare people. But I'm not really going to share this publicly because I'm going to get a lot of criticism. But this is, from all the research I'm doing and everything I'm looking at, is what's going to happen. The reason for this is because there's been a lot of shady activity. The Federal Reserve have ordered all of the people that had worked at the Federal Reserve to sell their stocks. And so has Congress in the United States, which doesn't make any sense why they would do that. Because apparently all of a sudden, after they've been doing it for, years, let's just see the gain that they've potentially made. And now is a convenient time that they have to sell up. I think that's very suspicious. Very, very suspicious. So since 2008, these politicians in America, not one single thing has been said about them selling up, and they would have made 82% return on just their assets in the VTI, which isn't an investment that gives you crazy returns, but it's pretty damn safe because it's the total world stock market. So what's going to happen? They're going to exit their positions. So what are you going to want to happen if you're a politician and you want to exit your positions? Do you want to exit when the market's down? No. So whatever's going to happen in the next couple of months, crazy numbers in the next 2 months on both stocks and crypto. And then what's going to happen? They're going to exit the hell out of their positions. And what I found quite interesting is the fib levels are just too nice. Just too nice. So I'm expecting a market, not dip, not pullback, but an actual crash of around 28%. And that's on the VTI, which is the safest one. So on the S&P, it might be lower than that. Now, people might be panicking, going, oh my God, that's really bad. No, that's great news. That means there is going to be some life-changing bargains available on the stock market.
My favorite quote from Wall Street Trapper, let's get rich in the drought.
Life-changing.
Bargain time.
So literally from March, trust me, you want to learn how to short the market. Want to learn. But yeah, that's that.
I have a quick question if I could ask before we finish, lads.
Yeah, far away.
So what's your guys' opinion on leverage trading? Because I've heard some people I know who said they made good money off it, but I've seen other examples like on Twitter. I don't know if you know, like KSI, he does crypto, and he posted a thing the other week. He lost 5 million doing it.
Right. First of
So
all,
I've seen extreme bads and I've seen positives. So I'm not taking either side of it. That's what I'm saying. I've seen people who said, yeah, it's good. And then I've seen, obviously, people took fat L's and it's like, I ain't trying to do that.
Okay,
So what's the best advice into it?
Okay, so first of all, let me just iterate that neither myself, Mr. Harding, or Lucas, who's head of trading, don't use leverage. So
don't do it.
Yeah, so unless you, I am an okay trader and I'm the least skilled out of us three. Until you're better than me, don't do it. I would say exceed Lucas and then use leverage, right? Because he's better than both of us and he still doesn't use leverage. So the thing is with leverage is just understand is like whatever percentage you can make up, you can make down. So if you have 10x leverage, then you can make 10 times more, but you can lose 10 times more as well. That's how you blow up an account.
No, true,
I would say these following rules. Leverage is used mainly as a tool for institutions, because institutions, when they lose money, guess what? Guess who pays it? The taxpayer. So they don't give a shit. So leverage, when you lose money, the people lose money, the taxpayer isn't going to bail you out. Now, also in terms of leverage, the institutions know about the following things: quadruple witching, Wyckoff, Elliott wave. Unless you know those three things inside out and Fibonacci retracements, you shouldn't even be contemplating it.
And they've got a team as well. They've got a team.
However, to counter that, I would say if you are risking only 2% of your entire portfolio or your entire amount that you've got to play with, then use leverage.
Okay,
Because then you're only risking 2% of everything you've got anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But you should never be trading if you're not investing. It's the biggest myth ever that you make more money from trading than you do from investing. And we've proven it with the signal service. We've got the signal service, but we're being transparent with you. Like, there's more money to be made in holding every single asset that's gone out on the signal service. By the end of this year, what those assets are going to be worth in comparison to the dust, in comparison to the trades, is going to be mind-blowing. Especially 5 years, 10 years down the line, it's going to be crazy what that dust is worth. But yeah, people don't have the time.
That clears it up.
So hopefully that clears it. So
more than clears it up, mate. Nice one.
No worries. Right, guys, I love you all. But I'm gonna shoot because I've not eaten all day and it's been a crazy hectic day. Love you all. Hopefully I've given as much game as I possibly can and drop some gems that will help to change yours and your family's lives. Thank you very much, guys. Love you all. Speak to you soon. Ninja, I will call you as soon as I've eaten.
Sure, no problem.
All right, safe, guys. Bizzle, bizzle, bizzle.
All right, take care.
All right.